Hello everybody, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel. This is probably going to be a pretty short video, but I talked about this a bit in the Supportive Tarot Facebook group and on my Instagram, and I just wanted to elaborate a little bit. So, as you can see from the title down below, this is about the Ancestor ritual, full moon ritual that I did last week. So, on Wednesday when the moon was full, I did this Witch's Moon spell to honor the ancestors. Now, the context for this is important because I have really avoided ancestor work for a very long time. And for a lot of people, things like lineage and ancestry are really, really important. And for me, it's been a slippery slope. Because the thing is, for me, when you have blood relative connections that are not healthy for you or that have been toxic or even abusive, the idea of working with that lineage can be not a good decision. And I've watched a lot of stuff around Samhain and around ancestry, and a lot of times we talk about forgiveness as the most powerful form of release and of letting go and of moving forward with your life so that you're not chained down by those toxic past stuff. But I kind of want to say that for some of us, that is crap. Sometimes forgiveness, there's a difference between forgiveness to me. And I really want to speak from my personal place because forgiveness can be a powerful, powerful bit of magic or a powerful experience for some people. And it can be a healing and healthy way to move forward for some people. But for me, forgiveness and the idea that I should forgive, whether for me or for the other person, regardless of the context it's put in, sometimes the idea that forgiveness is the right path forward feels very limiting and very disempowering. And so that's not the place that I'm in. And I think it's okay to not be in that place. And I also think that it's okay to want to have firm, strong boundaries around your life and what you will and you won't accept. And I don't think that you owe anybody, including yourself, the forgiveness of people who have harmed you. Now, I'm speaking from my me place, and it's really important that you sort of filter this through your own beliefs and what sounds and feels right for you. If you are in a place to do so and it feels healthy and empowering, forgiveness can be powerful. And I have used it in that way at times. It can be a powerful way to release the hold of something, to sort of let it go so that you can move forward in a healthy way. But there are some things in life that I feel like that just strips away, or at least it has felt to me that it strips away my power. And sometimes that's not the right path. And so not knowing really what the right path was, I've avoided ancestor work. I've avoided anything that could link me to people that I don't want to be linked to. So when this came in my Witch's Moon box, I was like, cool, now what? But I was determined. Sorry, dogs, hold on. They got real excited. Okay, there we go. There's cooking in the kitchen and they're like, thump, thump, that must mean someone's at the door, right? No, it doesn't, puppies. Anyway, I was determined to give one of these spells or rituals that came in my subscription boxes a try. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to play it by ear and see what comes up. And it ended up being a really, really powerful experience because I went totally off the cuff. So I sort of kind of followed the ritual. Like I made the ancestor tea so that I could share it. I had 2 little clear glasses and a clear container for my blossoming tea. I had, and by the way, I should say, I do not believe that talking about this in any way disempowers my personal magic. Like the stuff that is highly personal, I'm not going to repeat verbatim. There are some schools of thought that believe that if you talk about a working that you've dissipated or somehow damaged its energy. That is not true for me, so I'm going to share. And if that's not something you're comfortable with, you don't have to watch. It's all good. But just know that this is something that feels still very powerful and important to me. So I just wanted to share because I think we sometimes hear the same advice over and over again, like with forgiveness as an example, and I want you to have another perspective just in case it's right for you like it was for me. But anyways, I'm digressing. There was this ancestor candle with the rune inscribed on it, and I'm so sorry I forget the name of the rune, but it has to do with past connections and so forth. But I wanted to be fully present for this, and so I was kind of getting myself all set up. I pulled some things into the space that I wanted to work with, and some tools that I wanted to anoint. I had the Queen of Wands energy or anointing oil that came in the Witch's Moon box that I wanted to work with. I anointed my Bohemian Gothic deck so that I could work with it really powerfully this week with shadow work and such. I did some personal workings for myself, and then I was like, okay, let's get into this ancestor business. Yay! And I sat down and I was like, I had already cast a very strong protective circle, and that was really important for me to feel safe. And I found myself, I had the anointing oil all over my hands. It was this spicy, fiery, the Queen of Wands oil. It has a very spicy, warm, fiery feel to it. And I had already anointed some items, and so the smell was everywhere. And my hands were just coated in it. And I was rubbing my hands together, and I just pressed my palms together, and I started talking. And what I was saying, and it just kind of started pouring out of me, but what I was saying was, I was very powerfully speaking about who I am talking to when I am talking to my ancestors, who I am inviting to the party, so to speak. When I light a candle for ancestors, who am I reaching out to? Who am I connecting with? And essentially, I without planning this at all, this just came out of me. I very powerfully defined what ancestors I want to work with. And not person by person, that's not what I mean. It's the words that came out of me were things like, you know, those who have wisdom to share, who have my best interest at heart, who are coming at this connection from a healthy place, from a place of wellness and of care and not of harm. And I very powerfully, in the same time that I sat there speaking, I very powerfully said who wasn't invited. You know, if you're here to do me harm, if you have done me harm in the past, if you put your needs before mine, all this kind of stuff. Because for me, this was about, and I don't remember the exact words I used, and I'm not going to try, because it was very potent and very raw and very powerful. And I think I talked for a good 3 or 4 minutes solid. Like, this was not a short thing. But by the time I was finished, I had clearly defined from that moment forward and forever what I meant when I do any workings relating to ancestors. And after I did that, I just felt this calm come over me, and I carried on with the ritual, and it felt pure and it felt powerful. And I did reach out to somebody who I consider an ancestor, who is not related to me by blood, but who was a powerful mother figure in my life, nurturing mama-ish figure. I don't know how to say it properly, but I reached out to her specifically. I did some work with her, and I basically thrust the doors open for ancestors to work with me or come into my life and to guide me if they so choose or feel called to do so. But I defined who was welcome in that regard and who was not. And so I was able to, like, sort of pour the tea for me and for my ancestors of connecting with people that only the energies and the people that I felt, which it turned out to be just an incredible experience. And I burned that ancestor candle down like halfway, and I'm going to burn the rest on Samhain. And I've kind of left that gateway open for this week. I've been getting some really powerful messages coming through. And so I was able to really create a pathway. My camera just totally froze. My camera is driving me crazy. There we go. But I was able to create a pathway or a conduit to work with my ancestors in a way that was correct and right for me. And this is the kind of thing I've been doing more of lately in my magical practice, and it was just really, really important for me to do that, and it felt really good. And so now, if I'm called to do an ancestor reading or to work with past lives or any of these kinds of things, I'm not going to worry that I'm inviting in the unhealthy, toxic, or harmful energy from my lineage into the ritual or experience with me. And that just turned out to be a really powerful thing. So I had mentioned it on my Facebook group, the Supportive Tarot Facebook group, and I'd mentioned it on my Instagram, and a couple people said they were interested in how I'd done that, and that is what I did. It was very raw, it was very personal, it was very much just speaking aloud what my intent was and what I meant by the word ancestor. And another thing that's important, I think, is that I opened up that definition to include more than blood lineage. It wasn't just me filtering out my blood relatives that I didn't want to communicate with that are past. It was me saying anybody who is part of that collective ancestry, that collective who has tapped into the collective unconscious, or I don't remember the words I used. I wish I could, because they were very powerful, but I basically invited anyone in who has wisdom to share, who has something to teach, and who is doing that with a pure intent. So I really gave myself access to a wider ancestry than that of just blood, which is important, because in my current real life, day to day, truly I define family not by blood exclusively, but by connection and by people that I feel safe with and people that feel like family with a capital F. And that is what my family is. It is more than blood, and it is different than blood. And I think that's an important message for people who come from difficult pasts, or who have traumatic backgrounds or connections with biological family members or families of origin that no longer serve them and that they've had to walk away from. So yeah, I wanted to share that experience with you all for Samhain. I'm probably going to put this video up on Samhain as something to think about. I might put it up sooner. I'll just kind of see how it feels. But I really wanted to put this out there for you all and to tell you what my experience was. And to say that that frickin' Witch's Moon box was amazing because I got some really powerful, good stuff out of it. So that is all for today. That was quite a heavy video, but I really wanted to put that out there for you all. So I hope you have a wonderful day or week or weekend or evening, whatever time you might be watching this. Just know that I am sending you all the love and healing for you and wishing you the very most beautiful and most powerful of Samhain's, Halloween weeks, whatever. Just sending out all the good juju your way. Thanks so much, and I will talk to you all again very soon. Bye!